So right from the start, I want to mention that it's not a fair comparison. You know, the iPhone 16 Pro versus the Leica Q3, it's not really a competition. And I will always choose the Leica Q3 over my phone. But you know, I think it's very surprising to see how similar it gets sometimes when you take photos with those two devices. They are both 28mm focal length, and when you shoot RAW specifically on the iPhone, you can get an amazing results that sometimes you cannot tell the difference between the two cameras. But let me go back to the start. I upgraded my iPhone 13 Pro Max to the iPhone 16 Pro. And the main reason, I have two reasons for doing that. First of all, is the storage. I had 128 gigabyte, which was not enough, and I have to constantly delete. And this one is a 256 gigabyte, which is enough for me right now. And the second reason is obviously the camera. This is a 48 megapixel camera, the main one. You have the telephoto and you have the wide angle lens, as well as the inside camera for selfie videos, which I use a lot. And also, Apple decided to put, as you probably know, the camera control button. And I saw a lot of photographers and people on YouTube saying this is a gimmick, but I really don't think that's a gimmick. I think it's a statement from Apple that this is a camera world right now. This is an era of people taking photos and taking videos to share on social media mainly. But, you know, the thought behind this, that they wanted people to tell their story all the time. And, you know, they could have put a lot of other buttons there, like measuring oxygen levels and, you know, a bunch of other stuff, or just get rid of this button altogether. But they decided to call it a dedicated camera button. And, you know, I only have this phone for a couple of days now, but I found myself use it a lot, this position as it was a compact camera. And I feel like, first of all, it's fun. It's really fun to use. It's fun to feel like more of a compact, dedicated camera when I take photos. It makes me want to take more photos. And this quality of those lenses, combined with the sensor and everything, is just perfect for my style of photography, because I shoot with the Leica, the 28mm version. By the way, if you have this phone, I highly recommend to go into the setting and change the setting to be automatically as the last time you open the camera. That means that if you open the camera and change to RAW file, and then you close the app and open it again, it will go back to the RAW file. And so you don't have to use those Apple JPEG, which I don't love and I don't like at all. I always shoot RAW, and I edit them later in Lightroom using my Lightroom presets, both in the Leica and Apple. And you know, I'm a big admirer of Apple and what they're doing. I really appreciate what they're doing with the marketing and with the quality of the product. I'm a sucker for everything that they put out. And I didn't upgrade from the 13 until the 16 because I didn't see any reason to do so. I didn't find the difference in the cameras when I saw a comparison on YouTube. But now I can really see the difference, especially in the telephoto and in the night mode. I think that the photos are much, much higher quality than before, and I love this upgrade from the photography aspect. The rest of the changes, like the Apple Intelligence, is nice, but I don't really use it a lot. This is more a gimmick to me than the button, but maybe it's just me. And all the other improvement, it's not something that I really care about. You know, Apple, it's an iPhone, it's the same experience. I changed from the size, you know, from the Max to the Pro, which is smaller, because I thought it would be harder to use the button with the larger 6.9 inches of the Max. And I think I made a good decision. I also wanted to feel like I have something new and not the same size as before. But you know, it doesn't really matter which one you take. It's the same camera as for the Pro and the Pro Max. So I just got this phone less than a week ago, but I already took a lot of photos that I wouldn't take with my iPhone 13 Pro Max. And one of the examples was 2 days ago when I was in a parking lot in -2 floor, and it was very dark there with one fluorescent light. And I saw there a beautiful collective car, an old car, which is one of the most beautiful that I saw. And I didn't have my Leica with me. I know I wouldn't go back just for this car. So I took up the iPhone and took a few shots, which I'll show you now, of this car using RAW files. And I really love the idea that I could take photos at the same time that I don't have my Leica on me. And those are the perfect situations when I will use my iPhone. And I think that as a photographer or someone who loves taking photos, this feeling that you always have your camera with you, no matter what, it's just a relaxing and fun way to know that you're always going to catch everything. You're good to go. You know, when I have my 13 Pro Max, I know that in dark places or, you know, with telephoto photos, I wouldn't get a photos that is good enough to like upload to social media or to be usable for my style of photography. But as I said from the beginning, I would never let go of my Leica. I think that the feeling that I get from my Leica when I go out shooting, it's much more professional and much more, I have much more control over the scene and what I want to be in focus and what I want the background to be, because I have an aperture of 1.7 here versus I think 2.8 of the iPhone, which I don't really believe it's like the same comparison. I think in portrait modes of the iPhone, you get a blurry background, but it's more fake than the Leica. I don't know how to explain that. It just feels less realistic, but it's good, okay? It's very, very good, and it's work for 99.9% of the time. The much more important thing of the photo is obviously the story and the composition, because basically we're talking about art and art photography. You know, when I'm going to street photography or nature, whatever I'm doing with the camera, I feel like I'm bringing myself to the photo. And one way of doing that is using the gear that I love and that I control everything. Of course, I can download apps to the iPhone that would get me more control over the shutter speed, ISO, and stuff like that. But I don't want to. When I go with my iPhone, it's mainly to capture something that I see right now, and I want to be, you know, just to document this and the best quality that I get. But when I'm going with my Leica, I really want to be inside this mode of taking photos. And as I said many times before, photography is a meditative tool for me. And the feeling that I get from using Leica, or, you know, every camera which I can control everything, and especially with the Leica because it's manual, you know, I turn on the ring to change my aperture, shutter speed, ISO, everything. It gives me a peace of mind, and it gives me something that using my iPhone will never give me. When I take a photo with Leica, I feel like I'm doing art, and I feel like I'm doing something worth printing, worth sharing much more. And you probably know the feeling that you get from using your professional camera. It's just a professional camera and something that gives you much more control versus a very high quality compact size phone or camera that you take with you in your pockets. By the way, I just got this in the mail this week from my very good friend Lucas. He sent me something for my Leica, and I wanted to open this now. That's awesome. This YouTube channel made me go back to use the mail, you know, like physical mail, something I never done before actually. And I think it's really nice to get to know other people from around the world. And oh, that's cool. That is so cool. This is a small, beautiful button to put on the shutter button. I love this color. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Lucas. So, you know, the iPhone will never switch my Leica, and no matter how good photography gets in cell phones, which they are, I think they're already in the best level that, you know, they can get better results than some of the compact cameras out there of the big companies. But I really believe that until they like put an actual rings of the settings like a camera, it will never replace high quality camera like the Leica. I think that maybe the only situation when you can see the difference is when you shoot something in high speed and you need maybe a faster shutter speed, or, you know, certain situations which are more professional photography related. But for everyday usage and everyday life situations, I think we are in a point right now in 2025 that you can't really say the difference between the two perfect cameras. And if you're just going to like take photos to document your everyday life, plus the 124K video on this phone. It's really impressive. So I think this phone will be perfect for most scenes. And you know, I love this device. I really do. I'm going to take some photos now and share with you, as well as some videos. Just enjoy whatever camera you have.